Good afternoon, sports fans. Welcome to the show. Everybody out there in internet land, welcome to From Under the Influence. I'm Marijuana Man. And beside me is Kush Queen.
Hola.
We don't have Al's not in the house. We don't know where he is.
No, he's been missing for a few hours. Haven't seen him since jam night.
We'll hope he turns up. Hi to everybody that's out there in the chat on Pot TV and on Marijuana Man TV. Good to see your faces out there and your made-up names. Whiff. I don't think that's your real name, is it? He says it is. Yeah, we've got another camera here too with somebody on it.
Camera 2?
Yeah, there's Chair. And you can see Tommy Bong behind the bong.
There is a Tommy Bong here.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Thanks to Tommy for setting up the gear and flipping the switches and turning the buttons in the right direction.
We got a lot of space on this cam today. It's quite wide open, our space here.
Well,
we can even see Brian over here.
You never know who's going to show up.
Yeah,
it's true. I might want to stretch out and lay down on the table at some point.
Nice massage.
Sure, I'd be down for sure, as long as you're giving.
So yeah, well, here we are, first part of September now, and the weather's gorgeous here in Vancouver today. Been raining a little bit in the last couple days, but now it's back to summertime. Kind of my liker.
Yeah, it's warm out there. I was getting worried yesterday when it was coming down, but
oh yeah, it turned out beautiful.
It's almost a beach day out there today.
Still summer a little bit.
That's one of the best parts about Vancouver is that this kind of summery weather can last well into October. So the rest of the country is starting to get into the deep freeze. We aren't. We're still wearing Birkenstocks.
That's right. The banana belt of Canada.
Anybody in the chat wearing Birkenstocks right now? Clam toes is for sure.
Clam toes. That's how those toes got all clammy.
Vic BC Vape Stoner? Come on, you're wearing anybody? Birkenstocks?
Oh, I love the Wonder Woman and the Batman.
Yeah.
I like Whiff's little
Whiff's bedroom.
There. Yeah.
I
like Whiff's bedroom.
He's got the superhero sheets going. Oh yeah, there I can actually see the words from the faces in the chat. So yeah, who else we got? Big Z204, welcome to the show. Dr. Clone's here, nice to have you back. McDonough 50. Political Theater. Huh. Interesting name. Supreme is there. Coral's been there for quite a while. Yeah, the lemurs are in control again. Yeah, the monkeys have, we gave them a big raise 1st of September. We probably shouldn't have. They
I think the teachers got a little bit
spent it all on cocaine.
Of course.
So we haven't seen them for 2 days, but maybe that's where Al is.
Yeah.
So yeah, the marijuana is still out there. Really, like, I don't know if you people read the news. I read the news on marijuana every day, and oh my God, it's fucking embarrassing. Really.
I try not to read it.
I've never seen. Well, I'm looking for material. Always looking for material. But today, the theme of today's show is "Fuck the Teens." Is that what it was? No,
it was
something
close
like that.
It was actually. I have it here. I'm just posting this.
Oh yeah,
Today's show not recommended for teens.
Yeah.
So the language was a little choosier, you might say.
I don't know when teens began to rule the world, but it seems as though anything that goes on now has to revolve around them. It's got to be safe for the teens.
Oh, because teens have always been so safe.
Yeah. Come on.
The safest.
They are until they turn 19, though.
It's just their birthday.
The 19th birthday.
Right.
Oh, no. Life's safe then.
It's just on birthdays.
As soon as you're 20, it's safe. You're not a teen anymore.
Safe.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's going
Alice
on? I haven't seen Allison for a long time.
and Luis.
And Luis.
Hey, Luis, I need to learn Spanish by Tuesday.
Okay.
Thanks.
See.
120 joints an hour.
Done.
Let's say it in Spanish.
Done. I don't know. I'm sure I can smoke that many. So if that's all it takes is for me to smoke 420 joints an hour while you teach me Spanish.
That sounds fair.
Yeah.
Make sure you know the basics before you
Yeah. Gracias.
You've already got it down.
Yeah, I was going to wait till the day before, like I always do with everything.
Yeah.
I think learning a different language might take a few days.
It would take at least a couple, probably.
How long did it take the Spanish to learn it? Minutes. Right?
Yeah.
Takes them no time at all to learn
Right,
it.
they did.
Speak
They picked it up
Spanish, for
easily.
God's sakes. Why couldn't I?
Well, South America learned it too, and Central America and stuff. You know, it took a few hundred years of hardcore colonialism, but it worked.
Oh,
Just had to genocide a whole entire people, essentially. But,
those were the days
yeah,
when you could,
yeah,
you
exactly.
could learn a language quickly.
Yes, by completely appropriating somebody else's territory and colonizing it. Yeah.
So yeah, save the children, raise taxes. No, I think we should prohibit teens.
Yes.
I think we should legalize marijuana and prohibit teens.
That's a great idea.
Because they seem to be in the most danger. Everybody's so worried about them. And I'm getting tired of it.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Well, and you know, by banning things, that always fixes the entire problem and cures whatever, you know, problem there is in the first place. You just have to ban something and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So
let's ban teenagers.
Why not?
They can't go out at night. Like, really, I'm afraid of teenagers. Like, if there's a group of teenagers coming at me, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah.
If there's a bush of marijuana coming at me, I'm not that concerned. Really.
No.
So I think teens are more dangerous than marijuana.
That's true.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Depends how big of a bush it is and how fast it's coming at you.
True enough.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Still, I would rather be in that scenario.
Yes.
So,
I take my chances with the bush.
Yeah. So I don't know. They're just going berserk about, and it's all lies. Everything that they say about it has been refuted completely. There is no evidence that a teenager's IQ will drop. They actually attribute that more to the fact that they live in poverty, most of them.
Yeah.
Poverty will drop your IQ in a fucking afternoon. Really. And drag it down over time and generations, for God's sakes. So now they've extrapolated a little bit of information about marijuana affecting teens because their brains are still growing. They don't know that. They really don't know that. If my body is still growing, my brain is still growing. One would naturally assume the growth spurt of a teen. It's not like their brain stays peanut size while that happens. They go up to 6'5" with a great big brain. No, it's all nonsense.
There's
But
some
we'll
teens.
there's two teens.
I'm going to use those in the background of today's image.
So in one of these
Like a shirt.
one of these stories about the dangers of marijuana towards teens, there was a photograph of a pair of shoes on feet with marijuana socks. And the caption under the photograph said, "Pot socks, something a teen might wear." That's what it said. Like
They might.
This was written by an
accurate.
adult, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Something
Don't
a
be so sure.
teen might wear. Which I'm not sure what the inference was here, putting that tagline with the photograph. Do you mean that maybe the teen will lose a full foot size if they wear marijuana socks. Their feet won't fully develop. I don't know. It's so fucking stupid. But it is getting to be embarrassing about how these prohibitionists are still clinging on to their fucking nonsense about the dangers of marijuana. Here's a new one for them to wrap their little piggy heads around. Police warn of a new potent marijuana drug called wax.
Wax.
Yeah.
Evil. Potent.
Atlanta Police Department Narcotics Unit Supervisor Lieutenant Rick Mason said, do you want to hear his title again?
Yeah. No.
We'll call him Rick. If your son or daughter smokes marijuana, I'm sure they're going to try this wax. So you need to stop it with the simple marijuana. That's what Rick says. He says, whatever the effects of marijuana are, and apparently he doesn't know, whatever the effects of marijuana are, this would probably be 10 to 20 times as potent.
Probably.
This is what Atlanta Police Department Narcotics Unit Supervisor Lieutenant Rick Mason said.
He's got his science down.
It would be probably 10 to 20 times more potent. So
would be probably.
He doesn't have to be so exact. Now, whoever wrote this article sat down with Lieutenant Mason and also an anonymous user who goes by the name Al.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No one? That's where Al
God.
is, isn't it? Oh, now it all makes sense.
Busted.
And Al says you have to have a plant in order to make wax.
Smart guy, Al is.
If you don't have a plant, you can't make the wax.
Genius.
Yeah.
That is true.
So, Al adds that it's about $30 for about a quarter-size clump, and you only need to smoke an amount about the size of a BB to get high. The imagery, eh?
I'm starting to
high as a BB.
Some of them come in needles. It's really crazy.
It's like
yeah.
That's right. You've seen the pot heroin.
If you don't think this is dangerous, Al says the substance is so strong that even the most experienced marijuana users can get really messed up.
Technical talk.
He's seen people cough for a long time and even drool.
Oh no, not the dreaded drooling. Well, you know how many people go to the hospital every year with drooling?
Oh yeah, it's
420.
So
happy 420.
Yep.
Yeah. Wax on,
Smoke
wax off at 420.
Wax on,
yeah,
wax
there's
off.
more people in the chat. Green Supreme's there. 20 dabs later. David Malma Levine just walked in. I wasn't even looking at him. Hey? In my
David Malma.
Peripheral.
Oh God. No.
Reputation precede me, or
Yeah.
The audience is glad David doesn't have a microphone now.
Let's just let him back out of the room. Nice.
The chat wants David to yell at them.
Yeah. We'll bring him back to yell at you. He's going to do his own show. Now, this wax thing, though, I don't want to just pass over how dangerous this shit is. So Al says, if you're a parent and how you know your child is smoking wax, he says it's very messy. He says that you have to keep it in the freezer so it doesn't melt. So if your kid's going in and out of the freezer all the time, right? It gets all over everything, including carpets, clothing. It's very hard to get out. All right. So if you see odd stains around that you hadn't seen before, that could be a sign. Eh?
Teenagers makes all sorts of stains.
It's typically smoked using. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, really, that might not be that. It might not be wax, but it's close. It's very close to that. So, it's typically smoked using a bong or a vaporizer. The vaporizer might not be as obvious, though, because it looks like an electronic cigarette. Also, Al says, you can carry wax in a lip balm container because it blends in. What an odd choice of words.
Because it
Lip
blends
balm
in.
container because it blends in. I don't know. Al.
This Al is definitely an
I'm
expert.
having second opinions here.
But Al says wax is hard to get a hold of. Whoever sells it would likely have to be growing marijuana plants. And the Atlanta Police Department Narcotics Unit Supervisor Lieutenant Rick Mason thinks that that's probably not going to be too many people.
Oh, there's nobody
Yeah.
growing, essentially, yeah.
Typically, dealers sell the buds and throw away the leaves. The dealers do that. But
The
now,
dealers do, yes.
That's the dealer's job.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
now they can
Traditionally.
make use of the leaves by extracting their oils, which contain high levels of THC. In other words, your kids probably won't be making wax around the house.
Maybe not. But if their magazine pages are stuck together, you know that they're hiding wax
Yeah.
in there.
You see a
Dirty
lot
magazines.
of stains on the curtains and
That's
stuff.
right. If they drool at all, if your kid's wearing bibs, then
I don't know. Lieutenant Mason says the price of marijuana has come down enough that I believe there's less being smuggled in from Mexico.
yeah.
And he believes there's more being grown locally.
Wow, these guys are really smart.
He said that we just try to keep the young kids away from it.
Yeah, except that
The young
Sanjay
kids.
Gupta who's trying to give it to the kids.
Yeah. The rest of the people are all trying to just give it to kids.
I mean, Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Yeah, he's all about pharma.
Oh, yeah.
I think like that's where he's headed with it all. Even though it's good for us, though, a guy like that, high profile, comes out and starts spouting about marijuana being good for anything, because they're going to find it very quickly that it's good for a lot of things. All of the things that we've told them all these years, actually, they're beginning to find this shit out. Now, it's just got them confused, though, because they've all listened to what Prohibition has told them all these years, and now they're having trouble wrapping their heads around the idea that it's maybe not the way that Prohibition says, right? So those people trying to go out the back door shouldn't. Huh? Maybe they speak Spanish.
Where are you guys
No, don't go out there.
No.
No, that's okay.
That's all right. The door
Mostly
door
just
was
for staff.
open. There was no way you could know. Thanks for being on the show, though. I think they did speak Spanish.
They might have.
Ah, damn the Portuguese.
I wasn't sure.
Mm.
Well, you should have just tried both. Aw.
So here's a stupid headline. Marijuana legalization has researchers wondering if traffic deaths will rise. Like, the research has already shown in Colorado and in Washington that highway deaths have declined drastically since the legalization of marijuana in those states, or at least in Colorado anyway. But the researchers are wondering if deaths will rise. They're actually wondering how we can cook the numbers to make it look like it is. Really.
No doubt.
Right? And they're wondering about it because studies of marijuana's effects show that the drug can slow decision making. Huh. Slow decision
making.
Huh. It'll decrease your peripheral vision.
How so?
Huh.
I'd love
I
to
don't
know.
know.
I'd
I
love
can't.
to know that.
I don't
That's-
even know
that's
who's
interesting.
talking to me.
Yeah,
How could
you're
I
so
even know who
blind that you
said
can't.
that?
That's crazy.
There's
I
other
don't
people
know.
in this room?
I'm a peripheral visionary, actually. I can see into the future, but just way off to the sides. But what else it'll do
pretty
to you?
good.
It'll impede multitasking. Can somebody light this for me? I can't do two things at once. That would, and all three of those things are very important, critical driving skills: decision making, peripheral vision, and multitasking. Okay. Like, really? Peripheral vision in a car. Ever heard of the blind spot? Cars do not have peripheral vision. You have a fucking blind spot, is what you have. Everyone knows that. You're
That's why you
driving in a
have
car.
mirrors.
Yeah.
Shoulder checks, baby. Shoulder checks.
Well, those people end up dead, right? The traffic deaths have to come from somewhere. It's from people who don't know they have a blind spot. Now, I don't know. I think all the people that I know who smoke weed do not suffer from slow decision making, decreased peripheral vision. You can attack pot smokers from the side really easy.
Yeah.
And you leap out at them from the side and say, "What are you going to do now?" And they can't decide quick enough, right?
Yeah. Pot smokers should be the best guys to jump on the street to steal from, really. You know? Get up right beside them without them even noticing. They're too slow to react. They're just standing there like, "Oh, what happened?"
In the future, they won't be called stoners. They'll be called prey.
Yes.
Right? Oh, let's go out and get some prey tonight. Hey, you steal their weed, steal their money.
But if you steal their weed, then they won't be as slow. So then you got a predicament.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
And then you will be.
Here's another very unusual thing they said in this thing. But unlike alcohol, drivers high on pot tend to be aware that they are impaired and try to compensate by driving slowly, avoiding risky actions such as passing other cars and allowing extra room between vehicles.
That sounds horrible.
What a bunch of fucking assholes, eh?
No kidding.
Overcompensating for their highness by driving nicely.
I've always said we need more road rage.
Yeah. Well, you get shot for doing that if you're stoned.
Instead of road rage, it'll be a road rave. You can just,
But unlike alcohol, they said. That was what they said about alcohol and driving. I guess unlike alcohol, on alcohol, they are not aware they are impaired, and they drive really fast and don't avoid risky actions, pass lots of cars. Yeah. So, I'm not too sure where they were going with this. Anyone in the chat know? Zazima? He's not even looking at us. He's looking south. Zazima is looking out his window at something. Bird. Squirrel. He's
Nothing?
not.
No?
There he is.
Go.
Oh, there
Hey,
he is. Hey, Zazima.
Well,
He's writing stuff.
Willy dog.
Oh. I don't know.
It's all very confusing from our point of view. Oh, we got extra people. J20's here. Rufus is in the house. Flipper's there. Flipper? Wow. First dolphin in the chat. Wouldn't you think? Another dolphin.
Oh, man.
Pot smoking dolphins.
Canadian giant. Coral.
Those kids on Flipper had a good life, eh? Their mom died, which is great. They're just living with their old man. They got their own boat and a dolphin. Flipper. In those years,
Greg's childhood dream.
Oh yeah. in those years on TV, it was pretty apparent to me that if your mom died, that was a good thing. Because you started having fun then.
Yes, your step-dolphin parent.
Yeah. There was a slew of shows where the
dad marries a dolphin.
Boys didn't have moms.
My two dolphins.
Moms tell you to not do stuff. Huh?
Yes. Well, for the leave it to beaver mentality, yes, mom was always coming down.
Well, yeah. Once she passed, though, Beav and his friends started having a good time.
Flipper says say that to
when the Beav was a teenager?
Well, maybe Flipper's not a dolphin.
No.
He takes his handle serious, or they said. Flipper, you can't tell if male or female.
No, it's very unisex.
So here's another interesting story. Sheriff's Department in Georgia. Jailers escorted a guy named Henry and a guy named Nakosas. I don't know. Antoine. Let's call him Antoine. They escorted two prisoners in handcuffs and leg restraints to the Bentley brothers' funeral home Thursday evening to bid farewell to their grandmother. Their grandma died last Sunday at age 74, and the prisoners were allowed a private viewing. Now here's a gross thing about that, a little bit, is that two of her fucking grandsons are in prison. Like, really, this poor woman, two of her grandsons are in prison, for God's sakes. But at any rate, prison was nice enough to escort these boys to the funeral home on Thursday evening. One of them stayed in there a good amount of time, said the Reverend. So they searched him when he came out, and he had marijuana, cigarettes, a cell phone, and a few other things that they had stashed in Grandma's casket.
Oh my God. Good a place as any, I guess.
Yeah, the two were charged with marijuana possession and tried to take contraband into jail. But here's what Sheriff David Davis, here's what the sheriff said. This incident illustrates the audacity of this generation of jail inmates. There's the second scary statement in this story.
Dave Davis.
The second generation of inmates that he's seen go through. You go, oh, this is gross.
Second generation? Were they having kids in jail or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just everybody's in jail.
So confused.
Where was that he was in jail? That was in Georgia.
That means those damn kids.
Shame. Like a terrible thing that...
Think of the children.
This stuff's going on. Really. But there's reasons why these people are going to jail. Now, this guy... The police began monitoring 23-year-old Kyle Morgan last year after obtaining a package labeled Jake intended for him that contained over 3 ounces of weed. So in October, they raided his apartment, yet only discovered $13 worth of marijuana. But while they were searching, another package containing $1,600 worth of marijuana was delivered to this guy's apartment.
While they were there?
Yeah, while the police were searching and not finding any.
Oh, good. Right on time.
Yeah. Morgan maintained that the bulk of the marijuana was for a friend named Jake. But that
Jake's
didn't help him.
Man.
That didn't work.
That didn't help him. And he was sentenced to a year of community service, which Jake will do, apparently.
Jake will take it.
Yeah. And he was forced to turn in the profits from his drug sales. From now on? Is that what they meant? You can turn in the profits from your drug sales?
They're taxing him now on it, yeah.
Wow.
Hello, Lauren.
Franny just
Hello,
walked
Gina.
in too. Hi,
Vancouver.
Franny. Diane's here. Fredible is here. We already said hi to Allison and Luis. Vegetarian zombies back in the chat. Not afraid of a vegetarian zombie at all. No, like really. No, I'd be okay. I think we could live in harmony with vegetarian zombies.
They only eat the brains out of heads of lettuce.
Good one.
And they're always stalking your celery.
I guess it is time to start thinking about that, hey?
Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Costumes.
No.
I gotta think of a costume.
I try not to think of tomorrow yet.
Well, we all know yesterday's a blur.
Let's see what else is going on. A lot of people in the chat. 2 chats. Nice. Oh,
Greg, did you catch this story? I just saw this earlier on CNN, just off the top here, about Jeff Mizanski. This is a guy from Missouri who was caught with, I think, 7 pounds, and he's now been sentenced to life in prison because of the 3 strikes law in Missouri. Yeah. So the guy's going to be in jail till the end of his days for a few pounds of marijuana.
No, that's fucked. In Missouri.
In Missouri, that's right. I'm looking at a CNN article right here. Life sentence for buying marijuana, ? This was just released about an hour ago. With the lead that says, clearly something is broken when a Missouri man named Jeff Mizanski can be sentenced to die in prison for purchasing 7 pounds of marijuana.
Wow.
He had 2 nonviolent marijuana convictions already on his record, and he got busted the 3rd time.
Brutal.
Yeah.
No, I thought, well, I'm hoping that the feds down there, they've been talking about an amnesty on nonviolent drug prisoners. So maybe
maybe Holder and Obama will roll with this one and try and
maybe the news too about this guy will bring them to their senses again about it. I hope. That's fucking sad.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
There's going on all over the world.
Video interview with him on that story as well. I just shared it in the chat.
They're just totally filling up prisons everywhere with pot people, completely.
Hey man, somebody's got to pay the Geo group some cash. We need to put all those Geo guys into plush offices and stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with those guys.
Contractors need that money.
No.
Yeah.
There was.
Just happens to be government buddies. Yeah.
Here was another headline I came across. Said, the potential health risk of medical marijuana, it's complicated. That's what they came up with. It's complicated.
Huh.
It's complicated.
The propaganda is getting more complex all the time. That's right.
The Institute of Medicine says marijuana is not a completely benign substance. It is a powerful drug with a variety of effects. Huh? Could you be more vague? Institute of Medicine. It is a variety of effects. Huh. No, and then they talk about the fact that the studies go back and forth completely, right? But the ones that are against marijuana are only government studies, because that's what they've been charged to do. The National Institute on Drug Abuse in the United States, that's their whole mandate, is to find something wrong with marijuana.
And the thing is, they usually can't. And the only WestJet's calling. Oh,
fuck off.
That might be important.
WestJet.
It makes no sense, though, because the studies, even their own studies, the worst of them, the only thing that they can come up with is that there is some kind of correlation between marijuana and schizophrenia. They don't say that it's causal, and that's about the worst they can come up with. That people who might be predisposed to getting schizophrenia might, be more predisposed to it if they smoke a lot of pot. But they don't even know exactly why that is.
What if you want schizophrenia, though?
Well, if you want it. And it could be because people that tend to smoke more also drink a lot, and maybe the booze is having an effect. So they don't really know why it is that these 2 things are related. It's definitely not because marijuana, or at least the evidence hasn't shown that it's because marijuana leads to it directly or something like that. So
no, it is all played that way. If you smoke pot and you fall off a ladder, then smoking pot causes you to fall off ladders.
Exactly. Yeah. Not because it was raining out that day, or
you're an idiot and aren't paying attention, or
right.
You ran into a pack of bees.
Yeah.
One time when I was a kid, we were in a boat out on the water. My mother spied some big bush of lilac or something and asked my dad to go out there and get her some lilac. So he did. And while he was getting these lilacs, he hacked into some bee's nest or something that instantly attacked him. And he came running out of the bush, fucking covered in bees, and dove right back into the boat. Missed the water completely.
Oh, that's not good.
So we all got stung too.
Oh no.
Yeah.
These things are not fun.
Now, here's probably the biggest news in marijuana today. Everybody's talking about it around the grinder. Are females more susceptible to the effects of marijuana?
Oh.
I sure hope so. Like how much weed have I wasted otherwise?
Yeah.
Cannabis researchers, I'm not sure who they are really, have found that smoking the concentrated marijuana of today may be riskier for women thanks to estrogen.
Oh, Lord. More of these claims.
About the estrogen,
the concentrated marijuana of today.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They've concentrated a plant.
Previous studies have shown that women are more prone to cannabis abuse and dependence than men. Right? That's because us men were stronger.
Right.
Evidently. Maybe.
Bullshit.
He was asking for it on that one.
What the fuck?
In women, cannabis withdrawal symptoms of irritability, sleep disruption, and decreased food intake was shown to be more severe. And women also have a higher likelihood of relapsing when quitting the drug.
Oh my God.
Where are these coming from, these results?
Yeah.
Are these they ask the women themselves, or how does this work?
Well, despite these differences, most THC-tolerant studies have been conducted on males due to their more stable hormones. The professor says that in 1993, the National Institute of Health issued a recommendation to include more women in studies. That's my recommendation too, and what I try to do every day.
I study them as much as possible.
Include more women in my studies. Or to give good reason as to why not.
Well, that seems pretty fair.
Still, many scientists have avoided working with the hormone swings that come with the female biology.
Well, it sounds like they're cherry-picking their evidence then.
Yeah.
What kind of fucking sample is that? It doesn't even make sense. If you're going to be testing human beings, you don't just test one gender of them. These lazy-ass scientists. Jeez.
Well, Professor Kraft, though, has been studying drug sensitivities in females for quite some time. And in this latest study conducted in rats...
rats, of course.
That's okay.
They never study on humans.
Yeah, in rats. Huh. Nothing like an... There.
Wow.
The chat did want David to do some yelling today, so he's fulfilling the requirement here.
Nothing like worse than an irritable rat.
That's true.
Yeah. Speaking of PMS.
What the fuck? I'm supposed to answer this question?
What kind of a transition was that?
To clarify.
Does weed help my PMS? Is that what you're asking?
No.
Is that what's going on here?
No. You work at a place called PMS.
I do.
Pain
Management Society.
Pain Management
That is
Society.
correct.
It's a dispensary here in Vancouver that once a month you don't want to go there.
And
it's around the moon, but
Marc and Jody have been showing up there recently too, I heard. Were they
Yes,
there when you were there?
Yes, they were there.
Yeah.
Ooh, what day were they there? Yeah, it was yesterday that they were there. Yeah.
And the day before, or a couple days before.
Yeah.
Bad
So that was
X
really awesome.
Dab 720 is sitting there looking at me. Good on you, brother. Good to see you.
Oh, he looks so happy.
Yeah. Whiff's gone. Gone for a whiz.
Whiff's gone for a whiz?
Maybe. Hey, it's blank is still in the house.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes,
and,
little me in the corner there.
In the chat. So what's going on in the chat?
Little.
Do you guys have any questions today? That in itself, all the questions just left.
I shared an article in the chat about the Vancouver Police Department's call to think of the children.
Think of the children.
When all these other, we talked about some other police and other places talking about the children. The latest is right here in the city of Vancouver. We have our own Vancouver Police Department releasing some informal guidelines for medical marijuana dispensaries. They've now they actually released these guidelines to me personally in an email, and I've just published them on the front page of Cannabis Culture right now. If you guys go and check them out. Basically, what they've said is they have 4 main guidelines, informal, unofficial, official guidelines that they want people to follow. The first is don't sell to kids and don't market to kids. Those are the first 2. And after raiding a local shop that sells lollipops and cookies, and according to them, they said the package design would be something that kids would like. They were just in clear baggies, though, at this place. It was just a cookie in a clear baggie.
Why can't adults like lollipops and cookies?
Well,
why is it just for kids? Though?
And as Mr. Malmo Levine brought up to me earlier on the telephone, if a kid who has a license from a doctor or a note from a doctor that has epilepsy or one of many other ailments, would the Vancouver Police have a problem with those children acquiring their medicine? I mean, there's people who are actually Health Canada issued cards for kids, so then they have the right to use that marijuana as medicine. The Vancouver Police wants to stop that. We have Sanjay Gupta on CNN in this video saying that marijuana oil is especially good for little kids with problems.
Yes.
So we really shouldn't have the Vancouver Police saying that they're not allowed theirs.
Some months ago, there was a study commissioned by the National Institute on Drug Abuse in Jamaica following the children of people who gave ganja to the babies and those who didn't. Mm-hmm. And they followed them, maybe not into their dangerous teens, but they followed them for some time and found that the kids that had ingested ganja did way better than the other ones, like totally across the board. Yeah. And they didn't publish the results.
Of course.
Right. So that's the way that works.
Well, there's a lot of evidence showing the extreme benefits of marijuana for kids. Malmo Levine is working on an article right now about this very subject, a comprehensive article, I might add. It should be the most comprehensive article on the subject.
Yeah, I reviewed 24 different studies on cannabis in youth, cannabis and harm. And do you mind if I just kind of...
David, come and tell us about it, David.
Yeah, I got really tired of every news article talking about how cannabis hurts the developing minds of the young. So I read the studies. I read 24 studies. And man, it hurts my head. I got a headache from reading all this crap. But okay, so the mic is too close. But to sum up what I learned, most of the studies don't even try to argue causality, which is that cannabis causes inherent harms to youth. The ones that do don't have any reasoning behind them. They make up a whole bunch of shit. Like they ask you a bunch of questions like, do you have hard time relating to other people? And do you sometimes feel not at home in your body? And then they label that psychosis. And cannabis supposedly causes psychosis. And then there are other studies that say cannabis is used to self-medicate against schizophrenia and other psychosis. And then there's other studies that prove that psychosis rates have stayed the same or maybe dropped a little bit, but cannabis use rates have gone up dramatically. So there's no reason to believe any of these studies that cannabis hurts the developing mind. I'll have all the details on that coming up in a week or two on the homepage of Cannabis Culture. We're going to end the conversation on cannabis harming the developing minds of the young, so we can move on over to the should we regulate like wine or like coffee, because that is the debate we should have right now, not whether cannabis is going to be distributed like thalidomide or dynamite, because it's not that dangerous, not even to teens. And teens, by the way, undergo a lot of stress and a lot of depression, a lot of rage. There's a lot of teen suicide. There's a lot of teens on heavy-duty pharmaceuticals, and those pharmaceuticals are actually really dangerous. Like if you stop them all at once, you can die. They're death from withdrawal symptoms. So let's have a more intelligent, more informed debate on the use of cannabis by young people, and let's take away the one weapon that prohibitionists have left in their arsenal. It's like, oh, you're gonna, it's the assassin of youth. You're gonna harm the young with it. You're gonna sell the teens, and they're all gonna be in treatment, and they're all gonna have schizophrenia. Well, that's just modern day reefer madness, and stick a fork in its ass. It's over. It's done.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Not if we don't make teens illegal now.
Right. And I thought
no more teens.
The last ammunition in the arsenal of the prohibitionist was Stephen Baldwin. He's the real piece of
knucklehead. They all do. That's all they have now.
Yeah.
They got Sanjay Gupta wanting to give weed to kids, and everybody else saying don't give it to the teens.
Yes.
And they won't ever talk about adults. Ever. They're going nuts in Florida. Watch how nuts they go in Florida over this issue. It's coming up on their ballot, and they are going berserk. I don't know. That the legalization of marijuana is going to show the world what these fucking idiots are really like, because they've never had to step up like they're trying to now. They're all coming out of the closet, right? And there's a lot of rich cats in Florida up against the legalization of marijuana. Is it recreational use in Florida, or is it even just medical they're voting
medical
on? Just medical. They're just going nuts. They're going, is this medicine?
Oh, yeah.
There was one old fart wrote something to the idea that marijuana has to be dangerous because it's a drug, and look at all the side effects on the drugs on TV.
Okay.
He said.
Wow.
That's what scares him about marijuana is fucking...
the dangers of pharmaceutical drugs. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
He's afraid of that.
There's an article that just came out 2 days ago, or on August 29th here in the New York Times. The headline is Of Pot and Percocet. And in this article, the author of a new study about marijuana and its actual reduction in deaths in places where medical marijuana is allowed.
Yeah, 25% fewer opioid deaths.
Yeah.
25%.
So literally, marijuana saves lives. And I'm going to post this in the chat, but this is a really great article. They've done this comprehensive study. They wanted to find out if it was indeed true that pot is really saving lives, and they say, yes, it is. Right in the New York Times. So.
Yeah,
put it in the chat there.
Oh, Chong Mi Bong has got...
I was just looking at it, like, why does he have so many Coca-Colas?
Wow, I'd like to have one of those.
What's it say on it, though? It says something on it.
I don't know.
The name.
Names on it. That's fun.
There's a name on it.
So, yeah, it's crazy what they're doing out there. And I don't know. Like, I understand. All the people sitting in this room all understand and know marijuana and have had a lot of experience with it. And we all know that it's not bad, that in fact it's quite good. All Canadian doctors came together and said, smoking anything isn't good. How the fuck do you know that? All the people that have ever consumed cannabis, not ever, but all the people for all these thousands of years, they did it mostly by smoking it. And we're still saying that there's no harm coming to them. So why would I conclude that smoking cannabis is bad? Just because of cigarettes? Well, you Canadian doctors, you're idiots then. If you can't make the distinction between a chemically soaked piece of paper that I smoke compared to this natural substance.
Yeah. And they're not even, it's not like they're really testing real tobacco anyways. It's not some natural organic substance that's grown in a healthy way. It's some crazy shit that they've concocted in laboratories. They literally call it nicotine delivery devices because they shred your lungs open and allow you to absorb it faster.
I don't even know if there's nicotine in cigarettes anymore. Like, there might not be.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's so sneaky the way these fucking companies do this because when it came out that nicotine was so bad for people, the government actually made legislation against nicotine and putting more of it into tobacco because people were outraged by it. So instead, they found other chemicals they could put in that would enhance the nicotine rather than nicotine itself, and then hid that from everybody for years.
You can look up what tobacco companies are allowed to put on or put in a cigarette, and it would include any scent or any flavor that you can think of. Think of one. From sandalwood to fucking peach. It's all there. Chocolate, cherry, everything. Anything that you can really, you can attach to in your life is available to them to put in there. Plus a list of chemicals that are so fucking bad. And they're allowed to put that on there. And they put a warning on it. Hey, we spray all this shit on here. This shit isn't good for you. And that's good enough. Because I'm an adult and I should be able to make that choice. I don't care. But for these people to come out willy-nilly about marijuana with these grandiose conclusions of what it is when they haven't even looked at it, not one of these people yet has looked at marijuana. They're only talking about what they heard, what some study done on a rat said. They've not even looked at the plant because they're not allowed to. So why don't you all just shut the fuck up for a while? Like, really, just shut up. I'm tired of the green rush. You're all ripping people off, scamming the world. They're not really scamming the world. Those kind of people that are in the green rush are greedy fucks that think that they can make money easy. Right? So they're all going to lose their money because there's nothing there. All these people are trading on the market here publicly, raising millions of dollars with no worth whatsoever and no future in sight. Right? They don't have a future. If I've got an LP's license right now, what the fuck am I doing? I'm sitting on my thumbs doing nothing because there's nobody in the program. The program went back to the way it was. Mm-hmm. So all the people who are growing for themselves and having been grown for prefer to do that, and they are. So the program has been shut down in the courts. There's an injunction against the whole thing. Who would invest money in that? Not once has it ever been found constitutional under any challenge in all these years. Every challenge it has lost and been found unconstitutional. That's where I want to invest my money. That's the rush that I want to get into. You idiots. And they think they're going to do it by forcing. See, they're going to have to rely on the government to force people to buy from them and also to crack down on anybody who's not in on that program. So Tweed and Twiddly-D and all these fucking stupid idiots that have come out of the Tilray and all these clowns, they're going to want to get together as a group. They'll form a little union where they'll all get together and they'll go to the government and they'll go, you make sure those guys still go to jail for growing marijuana. Because I don't want them growing marijuana. I want the strains they got before you throw them in jail, though. Because we don't know nothing about strains and how they actually work with people's illnesses. They all think they do, right? And it's prohibition caused this. Because the cannabis culture and the medical marijuana community, we all sat around going, what the fuck? This marijuana is working, but we don't know why. We'd like to find more out about this, but there's no government studies. There's no real science being done on this. So we had to try and figure it all out ourselves. So a lot of these people have done that. People at Tilray, the people at all these other LPs and dispensaries think they know why this is doing what it does and what does what. Well, they don't, because they have no clue what it is. Yeah. They've just kind of made it up, right? Very anecdotal evidence suggesting that a kush is going to affect people the same way across the board. Marijuana's not that strong to be able to do that. Al tells me that when he smokes a sativa, it makes him tired. Not for me. Total opposite. So how does that figure in the mix, right? But we've now, because we've not done any science on this, we've come up with these conclusions of what marijuana is and what it does, and it's not necessarily so, I gotta say, right? And it's all being grown in fucking basements under prohibition conditions. Marijuana, as we know it, indoor grown marijuana, was invented by prohibition, not by our desire to make this plant better, right? Cops forced me to go inside my garage. What a shitty place to grow plants. First of all, in my attic, in my basement, any hidden dank hole I can find, right? To eke out a few buds of marijuana under lights that we took from stadiums and parking lots that are not correct lights for growing plants and have not been improved one bit, even though they say they are. They haven't been. The marijuana is being grown under some of the worst conditions possible, and we think we're doing it better. And many, many people think we've improved it by making it more potent. How the fuck did we do that? I wish we could do that. Who does that with a plant? Under prohibition conditions, growing a plant in your basement. How do you... And you're not even a scientist. You're a guy. Right? And they go, oh
amateur
my God.
Scientist.
And they go, oh, well, they've chosen select breeding for potency. Bullshit. They have not bred marijuana for potency yet. They've bred it for bulk. As much as I can get, as quickly as I can get out of my basement, because the cops are coming. What kind of scientific endeavor is that? Let's do it as quick as we can, because the cops are coming. I met a wheat farmer years ago. I said, what do you know about wheat? He said, nothing. I said, well, what advancements have been made in wheat? He was, 25 years he's in this. And he goes, nothing. It's all been the same. I said, where do you get your seeds? He said, down at the co-op where everybody else gets the same seeds, because that's what works.
Yeah.
And I said, so he said, the only advancement we heard about was this guy who was working on a strain that would mature quicker and yield more, which sounded a lot like marijuana. And he said, but he's been at it for 25 years. Full-blown science. Couldn't do it. Apparently, I can do it in my fucking bathroom in 2 crops. Right? Here's what we have done, is that we've taken the flavors from the sativa and crossed it into an indica or an afghanica or whatever you want to call it. I think that's all we've done. I don't believe that a sativa and a kush or indica or whatever we call those have a cannabinoid profile that you can mix together, right?
Aren't they just kind of the same thing anyways?
Yeah, I believe they're the same plant, and they affect me differently because of the environment that they've come from to make them the shape that they are. As far as I can tell, all right? So, and there's a lot more to it than that, of course, but that's not something breedable.
Because I think the whole indica sativa thing was just a very, very crude classification system that's basically been disavowed by the guy who made it and other people.
I believe so too.
Yeah.
But back in the 60s, when we got the weed, it came with seeds from Colombia or Mexico or wherever you got them from that had seeds in it. So those seeds would actually germinate. And if I put them in the ground, they would grow. Yeah. And you go, oh my God, I can have now marijuana. Right? So the plant would grow, big, giant, tall, thin thing. We didn't know even about buds or flowers or anything like that. We were trying the leaf because on this Thai plant or this Mexican plant, it wasn't going to put any buds on it by the end of our season. Right.
Yeah.
So in the 70s, when they came across with the plants from Afghanistan and northern India that had a much more shorter stature and they looked like marijuana.
Yeah.
And we went, oh my God, this is fucking super weed.
Yeah.
Right?
I can imagine.
Because compared to that tall leafy thing that I tried to grow, this was.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any other choice. Mexican weed or this.
Yeah.
And we'd smoke it and you go, oh my God, the flavors and the smells and the aromas of skunk weed of those days, right? But after a time you realize you weren't getting as high as you did from that Mexican. You had to keep smoking more and more and more until you got a headache.
Oh, I hate that.
Right?
Yeah.
Outdoor weed is what it is. It's not mature. So this is when a lot of, I believe, the legendary strains, things like G13 and Alaska Thunderfuck, and these became legendary strains because the people there, like us, went, oh my God, this is super weed. And you can imagine if you got a plant that looked like marijuana to grow in Alaska, then you did have super weed. But Alaska Thunderfuck, crap. Who would want to smoke it? I wouldn't want to smoke it today. You can go and shit in the Matanuska Valley outdoor. There's no chance it's mature. In those days, it was great. All right. So that was our attempt to bring the high of the sativa to that short maturation of that other plant. Let's get that high going, and that'll be perfect. Right? Yeah. But you can't do that. Conditions determine this plant, really. So much will come to light when we get a chance to grow it unfettered.
Greg, we've had this conversation before a few times, and you've brought this up, this idea of the type of weed we have now being a kind of monster of prohibition, this creation of it. Do you think we're better off now, or that marijuana is somehow better off or worse off than it would have been, back 30 years ago or something? Or is that a stupid question, kind of?
No, I don't know. It's hard to qualify all the things that prohibition has brought to the table here, right? We would not have made these hybrids. We have an awful lot of fun hybrids out there in the world right now. A lot of flavors that we can lock into this plant and grow. I think we've grown the plant pretty well for what we've done. Like, we've grown the Kush pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think we perfected it because it's not even close to the conditions in the Kush Valley. But to say that it's stronger, I don't believe that. There's not a chance we've made it stronger or even know how to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Because our friends grow both the Congolese and a strain from Angola in Africa that the seeds came from there in 1980. Now they grow those plants now, and it's the strongest weed I've ever smoked. And you go, well, okay, so why is this not stronger than OG Kush? And it sure as hell is. See, the sativa was driven out of the marketplace by prohibition.
Right.
Because the growers couldn't, there's just no way. You can't grow it outdoor.
Doesn't yield enough.
Right. And doesn't yield enough, takes a long time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All right. So it's faded out into obscurity. There's many kids that we could talk to here in this lounge that don't know anything but Kush.
I would have never tried a sativa until I came to the city of Vancouver. I'm from Vancouver Island. There are no sativas over there, really. I mean, maybe now there are, but back then I could never find. And I sold a lot of weed, but I never found like poundage or any kind of amount of
even
sativa.
in the dispensary world, even though they crave to be able to dispense sativas to their patients, they couldn't get any, but they'd call it that.
Right.
Or the guy behind them called it that because he knew that that's what they would like it to be. And it obviously isn't when you look at the marijuana. It's not a sativa.
Dude. Yeah.
It's a Kush. Right. So, yeah, there's a lot to be unraveled. I would have to think. And we don't have a square one with marijuana. We don't. It is fucking all over the map. People have all sorts of ideas of what is good, what is the way, all these things, because we never had the luxury to test it. But here's an unusual thing to me, in that now that they have licensed producers, these people are going to grow it exactly the same way as I grew it in my fucking basement under prohibition methods. They haven't even considered. They think that we're doing it the best it could ever be now.
Yeah, they're going to the people who have been doing it secretly and privately all this time for help as consultants.
So if I'm a medicinal patient and I'm going to send my money to whoever to send me weed, and these people haven't even figured out yet that this isn't the best way to produce it, come on. Come on. What
they're still doing crazy shit like doing it in a mine in Flint.
Well, might as well get it from the Hells Angels. They know. Get it from some biker group. They know as much about the weed as these guys do.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, in the open market, that's where they're getting most of their weed. Is from the bikers. Because those are the people who fucking produce enough weed for these guys to have.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's where it's going to come from. It's going to come from the black market. What a disservice to pretend that you're medicinal. Why don't you pretend you're recreational for a fucking day?
Mm-hmm. It's really funny. It reminds me of, I've been watching that PBS series about prohibition. And, the alcohol prohibition. And it's bizarre to think that, once they ended prohibition, that they would have set up a whole new system of breweries and everything. No, there was already people producing this stuff and doing stuff, and they just transitioned.
They didn't continue to make the gin in a bathtub.
Well, no, that's true. That's true.
Just the way they're doing it now.
Yeah.
With marijuana.
I think they had probably already refined their methods a little more because, but
all they've done, all the tweet has done, and all the pictures I've seen of all these LPs, it's exactly the same as any other grow I've ever seen, except they're wearing white coats and masks and hairnets. Other than that, it's exactly the same.
It's in a chocolate factory.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or a mine in Manitoba.
So, we'll see when it gets legal for recreational use. That's when the medicinal user will start getting the best weed and the best product and the best extracts. Not until then, because it's mired in total confusion. And you need sativas. Quite frankly, sativas, in my mind, is the real marijuana. This other stuff, you make hash from it. There's a reason why they make hash from Kush, because it's not very strong. The people in Afghanistan, they don't smoke the leaf. They laugh at you if you smoke the leaf there. They go, it's the hash, man. Right? And so, now, much to be learned, and it'll be a great thing when we do learn it, because marijuana is going to teach the world so much just by accident, as these idiots out there come to discover what we already know. All right? They go, oh my God. You aren't really impaired when you're driving, right? Or they're going to say, oh, we don't have a test. I don't care if you got marijuana in your system. Are you impaired? I don't really want to know what you have in your system. Are you impaired? It's all I care about. Was it baloney that made you impaired? I don't care.
Medical baloney.
Isn't it about that? Not about the substance that you have in and how much? 5 nanograms of marijuana is what they're talking about?
Oh, that's ridiculous, yeah.
What a bunch of horse shit. They don't even know. They don't even know. And that's a disservice to us. They've got to stop until... Why don't you go find out? If I was charged with the task of legalizing a substance that I knew nothing about... What am I going to go to the cops and say, what do you know about this? Why would I go to the police at all in that scenario? Even if it's marijuana, why would you even go to the police and ask them? And they did. Cops,
aren't the police the top-notch scientists of the universe? They know everything, don't they?
What do you know about marijuana, officer?
Yeah. I mean, they're botanists for sure, aren't they? I mean, don't they have little... What do they have in the trunks of those cars? I thought it was gardens.
Yeah. And that's what they've done. What a fucking useless bunch. And that's what legalizing marijuana will show us. They're a useless bunch. And they can barely do this, and that they've been lying to us our entire lives. They're going to have to come to terms with that pretty soon, because real science is going to say, look, you've been lying about this. It doesn't cause cancer, it stops it. It doesn't cause schizophrenia, it helps it. Do the fucking ice bucket challenge for ALS. Here's what I say we do is smoke bucket challenges. We'll get a gravity bong, and people who have ALS should do it because it's good for you. It will help your ALS. All right. And I think we should also do a challenge for people who have been injured already doing the ice bucket challenge.
Yeah, I like that idea.
One kid died.
Yeah.
Somebody else broke their neck.
At least one. There might have been more. I saw another headline today. I was like, oh no.
I hate the world sometimes. This is like the fucking Macarena of stuff to do. Right?
Yes.
It's just a thing that everyone does, so everyone does it. You go, what?
No.
Even stupid.
Oh, Greg, you're such a contrarian.
Oh, yeah, never. No.
Yes, no, I'm with
like
you, man.
hype.
It's kind of like people take it to...
But anyway.
It's tiresome.
Must be damn near
I'm sure they've raised a lot of money for that good cause, but I saw, now I guess I just am falling prey to reading only the headlines and not really looking into the stories, but I saw a headline that said 70% of the stuff that they say is going to ALS research or something is actually going to some other, like, it's a bunch of horse shit as usual.
But in your life, though, you go, hey, I'm not going to give money for a good cause until I can get to do something really fucking stupid first. What's in it for me? I want to do something stupid, and then I'll give money to ALS. You go, yeah, it's raised a lot of money for ALS. Why the fuck weren't they giving it to it before? You got to pour a bucket of ice on your head and videotape it so everyone can see? What a lame bunch of crap.
It's, it's playing into this, like, the cult of individual personality that everybody has now. Everybody has their own media organism, has their own website, Facebook page. Like, it's like their own little PR
I'm going
department.
to be different by being exactly the same as everyone else.
Yeah, well, that's true. You got to check in with the rest of the social media community.
I don't mind that, but I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a little strange. It's odd that things catch on so quickly, though. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon, the whole thing.
Well, the world is, we're chomping at the bit for stuff to go viral. Wow. Viral didn't used to mean a good thing.
That's
it's viral? Oh. Look into the shelter. Like Ebola. That's getting viral.
Yeah.
We're seeing it now, but
very true. But when a meme, they say it's like an organism. But it's funny that 10 years ago, nobody would have known what the word meme meant. But it's funny, it's everywhere now. This concept, back when they came up with it, they said, well, it's an idea has a life like an organism. It actually multiplies, it procreates, but it's fertile ground are people's minds.
Full of shit.
Yeah, we're like the birds and the bees for the memes, and we spread them around. Yeah, so they have a life of their own. Some of them turn into great beasts, and some of them just die off.
What are we talking about?
I don't know anymore. I honestly don't even know.
I'm pretty high. I do have a degree in media studies. There you go. So took a few courses on this one. It's nerd shit.
I have a degree of sarcasm.
Nah. Several degrees.
Sometimes several. Several degrees of separation and one divorce. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah, fun times.
We were doing the show. Huh?
We did a longer show today, actually. Usually we're right on the money on the 1 hour mark.
I think we owed it to Whiff, if not anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. With the Wonder Woman.
Right
yeah, man.
Wonder Woman and Batman. And Lord Blader. Bladder. Lord Bladder. That doesn't sound like a good name, does it? Blader. I guess it's Blader.
There's 90 viewers on the Pot TV feed right now, so. And there's a bunch of people watching in marijuanaman.tv land.
200 people in the room here.
2,000.
Wow. It's Billy. Lord Blader,
yeah,
it's Billy.
Kush Queen's been getting a lot of chat talk today. Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Some of it is
stuff I don't even want to repeat.
No,
I can't even unread those comments.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
We have, it's not really for teenagers. It's not recommended for teenagers.
No, not today's show.
No.
Oh my God.
So do your best out there till next week to ban teenagers. If you know parents that have teenagers, go and talk to them. Tell them how dangerous they are out here in society, and that it'd be best to keep them at home.
Be a teetotaler.
There's stuff we adults would like to do, but we don't want them around. We just don't want them around.
Teenager prohibition.
See, they don't teach kids actual horrors that await them in the adult life other than about drugs. Right? There's nothing they don't say to anything about, you're going to go broke, you're going to fucking, people are going to steal from you, all these things that await adults. So,
right.
It's just about drugs, right? They don't say, hey, here's how to balance a checkbook or your bank account or, here's how to have a relationship with women who are insane. No.
Yeah, they don't teach you anything you really need to know.
No, I tease the insane women. I'm sorry.
No, easy target.
Yeah, easy. Well, all these studies about psychosis and marijuana make me nuts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. Flipper, thanks a lot for playing along today. Who else is in there? Doob and Herb.
A lot of sea life in the chat today.
Chong me bong.
Coral, Flipper.
Brother, thanks for coming in. Hey, it's
Green Supreme.
Blank. Or Blanc. And Whiff, good to have you here today. We'll see you next time. And everybody else in the chat, everybody else.
Quite an active chat.
Yes, who are out there viewing today. We got good friends in from Switzerland. Barge and Janice come to visit. We're happy to see them after all these years. So happy to see all you guys too, and everybody else who showed up in the room today. The Kush Queen, as always. Your Majesty.
Great to be here.
Yes,
I love being here.
Graced us with your presence. I got no presents. And Jeremiah, thanks a lot for coming down.
Thanks for having me with Marijuana Man. It was fun.
Yeah.
Tommy Bong back there for setting it all up.
Tommy Bong on the boards.
Did a great job, Tommy.
And I'm Marijuana Man. We're going to be back next week. But until then, peace.